Sigourney Weaver. Alien 3, rated R.
The last few weeks haven't been any picnic either. With the film due out next week, Weaver's been busy reshooting the end and re-recording her dialogue. These last-minute fixes have left Hollywood breathless with rumors that Alien 3 is in trouble, and the pressure on Sigourney is all the more intense because she fought to be one of the film's producers, and she's had a say in everything from the script to the score.
And he said I would be embarrassed to pay you that.
Weaver had to fight for it, but she got $5.5 million. That's one of the richest deals ever for an actress, but it's still $2 million less than what Bruce Willis got paid for Die Hard 2.
And Bruce Willis can make a bunch of pictures that don't make any money, and yet they still think that the audience will come out to see him. It's definitely a double standard.
I know I'm in the minority, but I loved Alien 3. I thought it was the best out of the entire series. I really did. I also loved the redesigned creature. Look at that. It was on all fours. It was faster, more aggressive. Just look at that. Now, what did I love more, though? Her. She is, and always will be, the baddest woman in cinema history. Yes, will always be the baddest one. So here's a piece from 1992 looking at Alien 3 and her, of course. So I figured I'm going to keep the commercials in with this because I want people to see what was being advertised next to Alien 3. Plus, it gives us more of a time capsule into 1992. So without further ado, let's roll.
She's an intelligent, successful woman who is boldly...
Get away from her, you bitch!
And now baldly, gone where no one's gone before. Tonight, Sigourney Weaver talks about life and the pressures of stardom on the eve of her big summer movie.
If Alien does well, I will get maybe a little bit of credit. If it doesn't, it will be blamed on me.
Judd Rose learns about the way things really work for women in Hollywood.
Bruce Willis can make a bunch of pictures that don't make any money, and yet they still think that the audience will come out to see him.
And still to come, she's beautiful, brainy, and loaded with talent.
Here.
Tonight, a side of Sigourney Weaver you've never seen.
Thank you, darling Richard.
When primetime continues. When we come back, we'll leave it to Weaver. Sigourney Weaver, when primetime continues after this from our ABC stations.
St. Jerome's Hospital.
John Travolta.
Breathe deep, breathe deep. Try to help me, just try.
Kirstie Alley.
Oh, thank you really a lot.
Look Who's Talking Sunday.
Put me back in, put me back in.
In all of Hollywood, there's only one woman who can stand alongside Schwarzenegger, Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis as one of those towering heroes of the big action films, like the new Alien 3. There's just something different about Sigourney Weaver, a certain strength, a certain classiness that allows her to do and say things that, by Hollywood standards anyway, are dangerously provocative. Something about her that led the crusty veteran actor Hume Cronin to call her just a real down-to-earth broad. Judd Rose takes us to meet Sigourney Weaver.
She's bad. She's bold. She's back. And this time, she's bald. Would it be fair to say that you are the sexiest bald woman in movie history?
Well, I'm sure you say that to all the bald women you know.
Not that there's much competition. Aren't too many movie queens who'd part with their hair for a part in a film. But Sigourney Weaver didn't become a star by going the glamour route.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Rambo, Rocky, Dirty Harry, it's Ripley, believe it or not, the indestructible heroine of the science fiction classic Alien and its equally acclaimed sequel. In the macho world of action movies, here was a first, a tough, take-charge woman. Playing her helped make Sigourney Weaver one of the most bankable actresses in movies. Her last 4 films alone have earned $417 million, and she's on the cover of the current Premiere magazine with its list of the 100 most powerful people in Hollywood.
I saw you were not on the list.
Yes,
but...
it is ironic to have a woman on the cover of the list issue, which has about 4 women on it. But
how powerful are you?
I don't think I'm powerful.
No?
Probably not. I mean, if Alien does well, I will get maybe a little bit of credit. If it doesn't, it will be blamed on me. I can guarantee it. And they'll say, oh, a woman couldn't carry this picture, you know.
Understand, Weaver isn't asking for sympathy.
Movie stars are paid a hell of a lot of money, and why should we complain? But when I see Frankie and Johnny, that Al Pacino gets paid twice what Michelle Pfeiffer gets paid, or something like that, I wonder why.
Why indeed? Pacino got $6 million. Pfeiffer, arguably a bigger star, got $3 million. But Hollywood's unwritten rule is that male stars almost always get more. Take Bruce Willis. Last year, he smirked his way through 4 straight flops, which together lost roughly $135 million.
If Bruce Willis were the star of the new Alien film, would he have been paid more than you?
Much more. Much more.
That's just a given.
Oh, yes. One of the executives at Fox, when I was negotiating for this, because I believed in the principle very much that if they had paid Mr. Willis a certain amount for Die Hard 2, that in fact for Alien 3 I should be paid at least that. And he said, I would be embarrassed to pay you that.
Weaver had to fight for it, but she got $5.5 million. That's one of the richest deals ever for an actress, but it's still $2 million less than what Bruce Willis got paid for Die Hard 2.
And Bruce Willis can make a bunch of pictures that don't make any money, and yet they still think that the audience will come out to see him. It's definitely a double standard.
Few of Hollywood's big names would argue with that, but almost none are willing to talk about it so openly. After all, publicly criticizing studio bosses is generally regarded as a bad career move. But Sigourney Weaver isn't afraid of the show business establishment. She's been part of it from the day she was born.
Her mother, Elizabeth Inglis, is a former British stage actress. Her uncle, Doodles Weaver, was a well-known comic actor. And her father, Pat Weaver, president of NBC in the 50s, is also one of the fathers of TV's golden age. Among his enduring creations, The Tonight Show and The Today Show. Weaver comes by her patrician bearing rightfully. She grew up in a world of privilege. The right address, the right schools. But she was a big girl. By age 11, she was nearly 6 feet.
If you're this tall when you're 11, nobody wants to dance with you at dancing school. I finally said to my mother, look, this dancing school thing, no more, you know, because it was just too painful.
Were you klutzy? Did you bump into the furniture?
Oh, everything, yes. I mean, I was just a walking disaster.
Her given name was Susan, but she thought that was too short for such a tall girl. One day, while reading The Great Gatsby, she came upon a character named Sigourney.
I thought it looked nice. It was nice and curvy and long.
Your father objected.
I think they were a little taken aback, but on the other hand, his name was Sylvester and he was called Pat, and my mother's name was Desiree and she was called Liz, so who are they to talk, you know? My uncle was Uncle Doodle, you know.
Despite her unorthodox name, Sigourney followed a predictable path. She was a debutante, went to Stanford, and then the Yale Drama School. After that came several years of work in cabaret shows and off-Broadway theater.
How the hell did that happen?
Then, in 1978, she screen-tested for a part in a science fiction film, a part originally written for a man.
I thought, well, that's her. I mean, this almost never happens in movies, but this is one time it really did.
Alien quickly turned an unknown into a cover girl, and Weaver went on to become one of the movie's most versatile leading ladies. Along with her glamorous looks, she had a wide range, from steely to steamy to downright silly.
Hey, are any of you Ghostbusters fan? Check this out.
Are we still going out?
You want this body?
Is this a trick question?
Take me now, sub-creature.
We never talk anymore.
Hit films, rave reviews, 3 Oscar nominations. Weaver quickly became an actress of great stature, in more ways than one. Over 5'11" in bare feet, in heels, she towers over many men, but only one ever complained.
Chevy wasn't thrilled with my being his. I mean, he's a big guy.
6'4", right?
Yes. I was looking eye to eye with him, and I think it just sort of, he'd never experienced it before. You know, I felt badly, but I did say to him, look, you're the tallest man I've ever worked with, you know. Think of how Mel Gibson would feel.
Weaver's leading man off-screen is Jim Simpson, a stage director who works mainly off-Broadway. They met at a theater festival where she was the star and he was tending bar.
So I sort of went over like Joan of Arc, and I said, oh, hi, excuse me, would you like to dance? And he looked at me and he said, no.
Because don't dance with the stars. I'm a bartender and I'm not supposed to do that. But of course, as she was walking away, I thought, oh, I think you've made a mistake. And the rest is history.
Indeed it is. Weaver and Simpson got married. The urge to have a family came later while she was filming Gorillas in the Mist.
I remember sitting there in the muck, in the mud, in the rain, and I was being used as a trampoline by about 4 little baby gorillas, and they were jumping up and down on my stomach and pulling my hair and biting me and urinating on me, and I remember thinking, this is so great.
Inspired, she got pregnant. Daughter Charlotte is now 2. Sigourney took 3 years off to be a mother, and now she's back. Back to the future in Alien 3.
Get down!
It's been 6 years since the second Alien, and the new one has a style all its own.
More like a haunted house than a roller coaster ride, which is what people felt about the second one.
But let's just sort of get it right on the table. Is this film going to scare you down to your shorts?
Oh, gosh, yes. I think so. I think so.
Yeah?
Oh, yes. Ugh.
Alien 3 finds Ripley and that nasty lizard on board a penal colony in space that's infested with lice. The first day of filming, Weaver was lying nude under a sheet when she heard the director call for bugs.
And this guy comes over and he kind of goes like that, and up my nose and into my mouth and in my ears were all these, well, I didn't know what they were. They just felt awful, you know, they're just, ugh. I was like, get the nurse.
After all that, the scene was cut from the film, but the unkindest cut was her haircut. In the movie, Ripley's head is shaved to ward off lice.
My husband was very sweet because he told me at the time that he thought it was very attractive and very sexy. And then months later, when it had grown back, he said, God, I really hated it.
Nothing compares to you. Hey, a few years later, guess what? Demi Moore, zzz, and she won awards for that.
You know?
A bigger challenge for the filmmakers was raising hair. How do you scare film fans who've made this trip twice before? With a new, improved Alien that can do things like run upside down. It's faster, leaner, and yes, even meaner. Of course, the basic rules haven't changed. Rule 1, never peek in a dark place. Rule 2, watch your back. And Rule 3, always listen to Ripley.
I'm telling you, it's here. Get the foolish woman back to the infirmary.
This reptile with a bad attitude is actually a guy in a rubber suit, or more often, a series of intricate models run by wires and pulleys. And that goo? Well, it's the stuff fast food joints use to thicken their milkshakes. So what prompts that look of pure terror?
It wasn't that hard for me with the backdrop I have of all these years of encounters with the alien as Ripley, for me to think that this was the most awful moment of my life.
The last few weeks haven't been any picnic either. With the film due out next week, Weaver's been busy reshooting the end and re-recording her dialogue. These last-minute fixes have left Hollywood breathless with rumors that Alien 3 is in trouble And the pressure on Sigourney is all the more intense because she fought to be one of the film's producers, and she's had a say in everything from the script to the score. Remember, Sigourney says if the film flops, she'll get the blame. She, after all, is a woman operating in a man's world.
If women ran Hollywood, what would be different?
What would happen? Every 28 days, the studios would be on fire. Hey, it's just a joke. Do not throw rocks at me. It was just a joke. All right, now back to the show.
I don't know.
Frankly, she was stumped. But then, a few days later, we got a call from Sigourney. "Come over to my production company," she said, "and I'll show you what it would be like if women ran Hollywood."
Judd, have you met my director of development, Richard, Richard, what's your last name again?
Sims.
Richard Sims. He's indispensable. So who's on the phone?
Joe Roth.
Joe Roth, the head of Fox? Why didn't you tell me, you pig? Thank you, darling, Richard.
Listen, if this is a bad time...
I'll tell you if it's a bad time. Hello, Joe. How are you? Hold on one second. Robert, haven't we discussed how when I come into the office, I'd like you to dress as a Chippendale dancer? Do you have a problem with that?
No, Miss Weaver. I was cold.
Robert, you are a screenwriter. You have to get used to debasing yourself. Put these on.
Joe. I love Tom Cruise. Don't you think he's a little old for me? Can't we get Macaulay Culkin? He's perfect. Oh, good, darling. Thank you. Joe! Oh, I'm exhausted. I've done enough work for today. I'm going home. You look so cute, Robert. Love for sale, appetizing young love for sale.
In a moment, a program note about a special interview with John and Caroline Kennedy when Primetime continues.
Sally Brown on the uneven bars.
No matter how well you plan, no matter how hard you try, there's always the possibility that something can go wrong. That's why nobody should be without the protection of a big, strong insurance company. MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
For fun around here, me and the boys like to do something a little bit crazy. Put 2 kinds of cheese on a cheeseburger.
For a wild new taste, head to the store for 2 kinds of cheese and lean ground beef.
Cheddar and Munster. Crazy.
The guy in the new Infinity just discovered something about his car and about himself. He just discovered that the 18-year-old adventurer who loved to drive never left. Seems he's just been snoozing for the last, 20 years. And his new Q45 just woke him up. Without acne. Infinity. Makes you want to take up driving again, doesn't it?
Put a luggage cart in a suitcase and what do you get? Samsonite's piggyback. It's particularly handy on long trips like the one from your car to the ticket counter.
Your breakfast, sir.
This new Kellogg's Frosted Bran is quite sensible. Crispy flakes with whole wheat and bran, slightly frosted for a taste that's delicious. I love it. I love it. I love it. And new Kellogg's Frosted Bran has less sugar than you'd imagine, but the taste, it's out of...
We've got to stop serving this. New Kellogg's Frosted Bran, wildly delicious.
Coming up next on The Update, a ticket for eating ice cream stirs up a giant protest tonight by striking Kroger workers. We'll take you there. New developments tonight in the search for a missing 10-year-old. We'll have complete coverage. And meet the woman whose desperate act shocked her doctors. She tried to remove her breast implants. All next on The Update.
Tuesday, action! Oprah takes it to primetime and goes backstage with Dustin Hoffman.
I was really so sexually obsessed.
Settle down!
Now can I talk about Goldie?
Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn.
Darn you!
And soulful songwriter Michael Bolton.
What about this hair?
Oprah Winfrey behind the scenes Tuesday.
Well, there you have it. Alien 3 was built as the end of the saga, but as we all know, 5 years later came Resurrection. But I liked Resurrection, but still, 3 was my favorite out of the whole franchise. And yes, I agree, the pay scale was off the chart. I mean, Bruce Willis did have those movies that were... But, on the other hand, the Die Hard movies made more money than the Alien movies did. So it's kind of like, one of those things. But what do you agree or disagree with? Leave a comment in the comment section. And if you like these kind of videos, stay tuned to my channel, because you never, ever know what might pop out of my chest. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.